Welcome on this tutorial. Wish all you are well. This is a tutorial series 18051 microcontroller. In previous tutorials, I have discussed about timer operation in microcontroller, serial communication in microcontroller, interfacing of stepper motor DC motor with microcontroller. In this tutorial, I am going to discuss one interrupt operation in 8051 microcontroller. Interrupt application is very important aspect in microcontroller application. I will try to discuss everything regarding interrupt operation in 8051 in a single tutorial. Entering into the discussion, please subscribe. It will encourage me to upload more and more important tutorials. A microcontroller can serve several devices by two ways. One is interrupt, another one is polling. Now, what is interrupt? What is polling? An interrupt is an external or internal event that interrupts the microcontroller. To inform it means to inform the microcontroller that a device needs its service. So, interrupt is external as well as internal. Whenever any device needs its service, the device notifies the microcontroller by sending it an interrupt signal. What happened when interrupt signal is received by microcontroller? Upon receiving an interrupt signal, the microcontroller interrupts whatever it is doing and starts the device. Means microcontroller was doing something, it was executing the instructions one by one. At the moment interrupt occurs, at that moment microcontroller should attend the device who has sent interrupt. What is to be done by the microcontroller when an interrupt will occur? That is written into a particular program. It is called interrupt service routine. The program which is associated with the interrupt is called the interrupt service routine or interrupt handler. So this is what is interrupt. Now what is polling? In polling, the microcontroller continuously monitors the status of a given device. Means microcontroller continuously monitors whether a device needs a service or not. When the condition met, microcontroller performs the service. After that, it moves on to monitor the next device until everyone is serviced. So this type of system faces a disadvantage. The polling method is not efficient since it wastes much of the microcontroller's time by polling devices that do not need service. For example, JNB TF, target. When this instruction will be executed, then microcontroller will continuously check whether the TF bit is 0 or not. What is interrupt service routine? For every interrupt, there must be an interrupt service routine or interrupt handler. When an interrupt is invoked, the microcontroller runs the interrupt service routine. Inside the interrupt service routine, there are several instructions. For every interrupt, there is a fixed location in memory that holds the address of its interrupt service routine. Means, for each interrupt service routine related with particular interrupt, there is a fixed memory location where program is written for interrupt service routine. The group of memory locations set aside to hold the address of ISRs is called interrupt vector table. Means what is the starting memory location for a particular interrupt service routine that is written into the interrupt vector table. See, this is the interrupt vector table. These are different interrupts and these are the memory locations. Now what are the different interrupts? In 8051, 6 numbers of interrupts are there. Reset. The reset can be done by two ways. One is power on reset, another one is by external reset circuitry. Next, TF0 and TF1. These two interrupts are related with timer. INT0, INT1. These are two external interrupts. In microcontroller pin number 12 and 13, that is P3.2 and P3.3, these two pins are used to take the external interrupts. And the interrupt name is INT0 and INT1. Next interrupt is RITI, which is a single interrupt that belongs to both receive and transfer of data for serial communication. These are 6 interrupts. Reset, the memory location is 00. Timer overflow interrupt for timer 0, the memory location is 000B. Timer overflow interrupt for timer 1 is 001B. External hardware interrupt int 0, the memory location is 0003. External hardware interrupt int 1, the starting memory location is 0013. And for serial communication RI/TI, the memory location is 0023. Now what are the steps in executing an interrupt? Means when an interrupt will occur, what will happen? Normally microcontroller continuously execute the different instructions. When an interrupt will occur, microcontroller finishes the instruction it is executing and saves the address of next instruction from program counter to stack. Say these are the different instructions: 1 instruction, 2 instruction, 3 instruction, 4 instruction. At a particular moment, say when this instruction was being executed, at that moment one interrupt came. What will happen? Each instruction has a particular memory location. This instruction is a memory location say 08. This instruction memory location say 09. What will happen? Microcontroller will finish execution of this instruction, and as the interrupt occur while executing this instruction, microcontroller execution need to be shifted to the starting memory location of corresponding interrupt service routine. So what will happen? At this moment, value of program counter was 09 because it always indicates the next instruction to be executed. As interrupt came while this instruction was executed, after finishing this instruction, the program counter value will be shifted to the stack and program counter will be reloaded with the starting memory location of corresponding interrupt service routine. And what will happen? The microcontroller execution will be shifted to corresponding interrupt service routine. This is interrupt service routine for corresponding interrupt. So execution jumps to a fixed memory location in the memory called a interrupt vector table that holds the address of interrupt service routine. The microcontroller gets the address of interrupt service routine from the interrupt vector table and jumps to it. Means after this it will jump to here. It starts to execute the interrupt service routine until it reaches the last instruction of the subroutine, which is return I or return interrupt. Inside this interrupt service routine, several instructions are there, and the last instruction is return interrupt, which is RETI. While this return instruction will be executed, after execution of this return instruction, the execution will be shifted again where the microcontroller was interrupted. Means it will start from this 09 memory location. Now from where it will get the value 09? After this return instruction, return I instruction, what was the value in stack? In stack the value was 9. That value will return back to the program counter. So upon executing the RETI instruction, the microcontroller returns to the place where it was interrupted. For that, first it gets value of program counter from the stack by popping top 2 bytes of the stack into the PC. Why 2 bytes? Because the memory location are 16 bit. Then it starts to execute from that address. Means here the execution will start from 0009. So this is the steps when interrupt is sensed by the microcontroller. Now what we need to access the interrupt? We need to enable or disable the interrupt. Upon reset the microcontroller, all interrupts are disabled, meaning that none will be responded by the microcontroller if they are activated. Means if any interrupt will occur, then the microcontroller will not access that interrupts, as upon reset all the interrupts are disabled. What we need? We need to enable the interrupts. The interrupts must be enabled by software in order for the microcontroller to respond to them. And for that we need to set a particular register. There is a register called interrupt enable IE that is responsible for enabling and disabling the interrupts. So we need to set the interrupt enable register. Interrupt enable register is a 8-bit register. This is the explanation of different bits. This is EX0. this bit is used for enable or disable external interrupt 0. This EX for external. So similarly EX1, this is for external interrupt 1. Now ET1 and ET0, these are related with timer. This ET1, this is for enabling or disabling timer 0 overflow interrupt. So this is for timer 1. Next is the ES. This is related with serial communication. This ES bit is to enable or disable the serial port interrupt. This ET2 is just like ET0, ET1. This is related with timer 2 in 8051. No existence of timer 2, but if we use 8052, there is timer 2. For that case, this bit will be set. So these are the different bits related with different interrupt. We must set it. Say if we want to access or if we want to use external interrupt 0, no doubt this bit should be logic 1. Now one thing is most important. According to our requirement, we must set these bits. This EA bit, which is the enable all, this acts as the main switch. If this enable bit is 0 somehow, though we set this EX0 or any other one as logic 1, it will not work. So for working, this enable all bit should be always logic 1. After setting this bit, then we will set from these bits which one we want to use. So repeating, if we want to use any interrupt, this EA bit should be always logic 1. Then according to our requirement, which interrupt we want to use, according to that we will set these bits. Entering into the discussion of timer interrupt. In 8051, two timer interrupts. One is TF0, this is timer overflow flag interrupt 0. This is TF1, timer overflow flag 1 interrupt. The interrupt service routine memory location for TF0 is 000B and for TF1 is 001B. Means when this interrupt will occur, then the execution will jump to this memory location. When this TF1 interrupt will occur, then the execution will jump to 001B memory location. In this 000B memory location, interrupt service routine should be written, which will assign what is needed to be done when this TF0 interrupt will occur. Similarly, this will be the starting memory location of interrupt service routine, and the different instructions will be written what is to be needed or what is to be done when this TF1 interrupt flag will occur. Small example, what will be the instruction to enable the serial interrupt, timer 0 interrupt and external hardware interrupt. So we need to set interrupt enable register. In interrupt enable register, we need to enable the serial interrupt. Which one is serial interrupt? This ES is for serial interrupt, so this will be logic 1. Next, timer 0 interrupt. Which one is timer 0 interrupt? This ET0. Next, external hardware interrupt 1. Which one is this? This is EX1. Now these three we have set. What is most important? The most important thing is that we must set this D7 bit enable all. So this will be logic 1. All other bits will be logic 0. So this is the setting of interrupt enable register. So see what will be the instruction? The instruction will be move IE comma hash 100101110 in binary. We can do the same thing by bit addressable instruction. We need to set D1, D2, D4 and D7. As interrupt enable register is bit addressable, so we can do these functions by using set bit instruction. So what is the instruction? For this one we will use set bit IE.1. For this one we will use set bit IE.2. For this one we will use set bit IE.4 and for this we will use set bit IE.7. Next, number B. Disable the timer 0 interrupt. Which one is timer 0 interrupt? This one is timer 0 interrupt, ET0. We can disable this bit by bit addressable instruction. The bit addressable instruction is CLR, that is clear. So we will use CLR, and this is bit number 1. So we will use CLR IE.1. Next, show how to disable all interrupts with a single instruction. If we want to disable all interrupt, it is sufficient if we reset this D7 bit as 0. Because if enable all bit is 0, no interrupt will function. So we may use CLR IE.7. So we may use CLR IE.7 to disable all the interrupts. This is another program. Using TF0 interrupt, write a program to generate a square wave of 200 microsecond period at pin number P1.5. Use timer 0 mode 2. Assume that crystal frequency is 11.0592 MHz. So what is our program? At P1.5 we need to produce a square wave, and the time period of this square wave is 200 microsecond. Means the time from this to this position, this is 200 microsecond. Now here what we will use? We need to use interrupt, that is timer overflow interrupt 0, means we no doubt should use timer 0 and port P1.5. So for using timer we need to set tmod register. So first thing, what should be the value of tmod register to use timer 0? And no doubt the timer 0 will be used in mode 2. Now see, this is tmod register. This LSB 4 bit, this is for timer 0, and MSB 4 bit, this is for timer 1. Now this M1 and M0, this will be used for mode selection. 4 modes are here, mode 0, 1, 2 and 3. Different modes have different functionality. Here according to question we need to use mode 2. So for mode 2, what is the combination? Combination is 1 and 0. So M1 should be 1 and M0 should be 0. Next, C/T, what will be this bit? Here timer is acting as a timer, so this bit will be set as 0. Get bit might be 0 or 1. Here timer is enabled or disabled by software, so get bit will be logic 0. So this will be timer 0 setting. And we are not using timer 1, so all the bits in timer 1 will be 0, 0, 0 and 0. So what will be the value of tmod? Here this is 0, here this is 2. So value of tmod is 0, 2 in hex. Next, for creating this square wave, what is the basic function? Basic function is that at a particular duration, from this duration to this duration, the status of P1.0 will be 0, and from this duration to this duration, the status of P1.5 will be logic 1. So what we need? We need to create a particular delay here, from this to this delay and this to this delay also. As this is a square wave, delay is same. Now this delay will be created by timer, and here we will use timer 0 overflow flag as interrupt. In 8051, two timers are here, timer 0 and timer 1. According to this question, we must use the timer 0. Here we will use mode 2. Now how this delay can be created? Timer is a 16-bit timer. It can be used 8-bit wise, means timer high and timer low. So what will happen in this case? This timer will have a particular initial value. Say the initial value is 20. When the timer will be run according to clock frequency, this timer value will be incremented by 1. After 1 clock, this will be 21. Next clock, this will be 22, like this. The value will increase and increase. As this is 8-bit, so maximum value will be 255 in decimal. When the value of T80 will reach to 255, then it will be roll back to 0 again. When it will roll back to 0 again, then this timer overflow flag, this will be logic 1. When this timer overflow flag will be logic 1, then we will use this bit as interrupt and we will change the status of output. Means if the output was logic 0, when this TF0 will logic 1, at that moment the output bit will be logic 1 and we will write the program like that way. So from this to this will be the delay, and that delay will be created by this TH0. If the initial value of this TH0 is low, then to reach this 255 it will take more time, means delay will be more. If initial value of this TH0 is high, then from that initial value to reach to this 255 it will take less time. So ultimately, by changing this initial value, we can change the delay. So for creating the delay, means for creating the square wave, we need to set the initial value of the timer. Now entering the discussion, what will be the initial value of the timer? Here we are using mode 2 operation. Now what is mode 2? Mode 2 is 8-bit auto reload. The timer will be used as a 8-bit timer, means we will use higher 8-bit and lower 8-bit of the timer. And how this functions, means what is function of mode 2 for timer operation. Two timers, timer 1 and timer 2, both are 16-bit timer and both can be used as 8-bit operation. For the case of mode 2 operation, what will happen? The value will be initialized at TH0. When timer will run, the value will automatically be loaded in TL0 and value of the timer will start to increment according to the pulse count. When it will reach to maximum value 255, in next clock cycle it will roll over to 0, and when the operation will be repeated, initial value of this TL0 will automatically reloaded from TH0. So this is called auto reload. See here it is written 8-bit auto reload operation. So we need to set initial value at TH0. Again I am telling what will happen. When timer will run, the initial value will automatically be loaded from TH0 to TL0. According to the clock pulse, the value of this TL0 will incremented. When it will reach to maximum value, it will be roll over to 0. When this value will be roll over to 0, then the timer flag 0 will be logic 1 and it will act as an interrupt. So next coming, what will be the initial value of TH0? The time period of square wave is 200 microsecond from here to here. From here to here is 100 microsecond. So this should be the delay. Say initial value of this TH0 is I. According to the clock pulse, the value will be increment and ultimately the final value will be 255. How much clock cycle is needed to reach to 255? The required clock cycle is 255 minus of I. Now when this will reach to 255, next clock cycle it will roll over to 0. And at that moment the timer overflow flag will be logic 1. So another 1 cycle is required. So 255 minus I plus 1, this is the total machine cycle required to create interrupt or to get TF0 logic 1. This is the total machine cycle. Now one machine cycle needs 1.085 microsecond. This is the total time elapsed by TH0 to get an interrupt. So no doubt this should be our required 100 microsecond. Now from here, if we calculate, we will get the value of I is equal to 164 in decimal, which is equal to A4 in hex. Here I have written TH0, this is actually TL0, and value of this TL0 will come from TH0. So the initial value of TH0 will be A4 in hex. Next, what we need, as we are using interrupt, so no doubt we need to set the interrupt enable register. Here we are using timer 0 overflow flag interrupt. So which bit we need to set? We need to set ET0. This is related with timer 0. So this bit will be set. What the other things we need to do? No doubt this enable all bit should be logic 1 and all other bits will be logic 0. So what is the required value of IE? This is 8 and this is 2. So value of IE will be 82 in hex. So this is the main setting part for this program. We have set the value of tmod with 02. We have set the value of TH0 with A4. We have set value of IE with 82 as per our program. Next, what we need? We need to run the timer. For running the timer, we will use the instruction set bit TR0. As we are using timer 0, so set bit TR0 is the instruction to run the timer. After that, what we will do? Just we are using the interrupt, so we will wait for the interrupt to come, and for that reason we are using edge jump instruction. Edge jump, I am putting the name of level as L1 and the level will be at this position, means the program will stay here. This will be used as a infinite loop. If microcontroller had to do any other work, that would have been written here. As no other work according to program, so instruction has been written here, just wait. Now the program is here at this instruction edge jump L1. As timer is running, the value of this timer 0 is incrementing. When it will reach and roll over, then interrupt will occur. What will happen when interrupt will occur? For that, we need to write the program in interrupt service routine. Now writing the program in interrupt service routine. In this case, TF0 interrupt has been used. So the corresponding interrupt service routine will start from 000B. So I will write origin 000BH. Next, what we need? When the interrupt will come, what we will do? Say, when the interrupt will come, we need to just invert the status. If the status was 0, when interrupt will come, it will be logic 1, and the logic 1 will remain until next interrupt will come. When next interrupt will come, it will again invert. So whenever any interrupt will come, the output should be inverted. So in the program, we may write here as complement CPL, and the pin number is P1.5, and this is the main function. Interrupt service routine is over, and the last instruction of this interrupt service routine is return interrupt. This is main function. Say I am starting main function at a particular memory location, giving the name origin, say 0030H. What will happen? First, it will set this value, timer will start, execution will stay here. When the interrupt will come, the execution will be shifted from here to here. It will change the status of P1.5, then return interrupt instruction will be executed. After this, it will again back to here and it will wait. When next interrupt will come, again this will come here and this will go on. For completing this program, or we may introduce few more instruction. We may use like this, origin 00h, and here we may write L jump, and where it will jump to main instruction or main part. Where it will jump to main. Where is the main? The main is here. This is used for bypassing interrupt vector table. When the program will start to run, it will execute this ljump main. From here it will come at this position, it will set the values, it will start the timer, then stay here. When interrupt will come, it will jump from this position to this position, means it will enter into interrupt service routine. When this return interrupt will execute, it will again come from here to here, and again the same thing will repeat continuously, and ultimately at P1.5 we will get a square wave. I am running this program and showing it. This same program which I have just explained, where I will check it, I will check P1.5. here this is the P1 port, these are different bits. So 1.5, this one is the 1.5. so we will check this bit. This bit will toggle with a particular interval, means when square wave will be generated, this bit will be 0 1 0 1 0 1 like this. Now running the program, look at this bit, 0 1 0 1 0 1 0 1, means the square wave is generated at P1.5. Next, external hardware interrupt. In 8051, two pins P3.2 and 3.3, these two pins are used as external hardware interrupt. The external interrupt might be given. That interrupt might come from the switch or from different sensors. When this INT0 will come, then the execution will shifted to the memory location 0003H. When INT1 will come, the execution will be shifted to the memory location 0013H. There are two activation levels for this external hardware interrupt. One is level triggered, another one is S triggered. Level triggered is basically low level triggered, means when at this point, if a low level signal sustained for certain duration, that duration no doubt in microsecond order, then that will act as a low level signal. So this type of low level signal. And what is S triggered signal? S triggered is basically here falling S triggered. This is the falling S triggered from high to low. So when this type of falling edge will arise at this pin, then it will act as a interrupt. Means this is one falling edge, this is another falling edge, this is another falling edge, these are the different falling edges. So we can use the external interrupt, or we can trigger the external interrupt as a low level triggered or as a falling edge triggered. This is how different triggered activated. For level triggered or S triggered, this IT0 should be reset or set. When IT0 is 0, this interrupt will be as level triggered. When IT0 logic 1, it will act as S triggered. When this interrupt will be used as S triggered, when this type of falling edge will occur, the IA0 bit of TCON register will automatically set. In both the cases, ultimately, whenever the interrupt will come, the execution will be transferred to this memory location 0003 for interrupt 0, 0013 for interrupt 1. Now explaining the level triggered interrupt. Initially, INT0 and INT1 pins are normally high. Triggers the interrupt while a low level signal is applied. Means initially it was high, then a low level signal came and it will exist for certain duration. Then the microcontroller stops whatever it is doing and jumps to the interrupt vector table to service that interrupt. This is the normal function. The low level signal at the INT-N pin, means INT1 or INT0 pin, must be removed before execution the last instruction of the ISR RETI, otherwise another interrupt will be generated. Means when this low level triggered happened, the execution will transfer to the interrupt service routine, and the last instruction of the interrupt service routine should be always return I. And what is the most important thing here? Before executing this return I instruction, this low level should be removed. Otherwise, it will get another interrupt and it will start to execute this interrupt service routine again. In microcontroller operation, if we do not set IT1 for identifying whether it is level triggered or S triggered, then level activated interrupt will be the default mode upon reset of the 8051. We can say after resetting or after running the microcontroller, if we never set IT0 or IT1 as logic 1, it will by default act as a level triggered activation. Now say this is one example using level triggered interrupt. What is here? Assume that the INT1 pin is connected to a switch that is normally high. Means see, this INT1 is connected at this point, which is connected to VCC, so this is normally high. Whenever it goes low, when this switch will be connected, whenever it goes low, it should run a LED. The LED is connected at P1.3 and is normally off. When it is turned on, it should stay on for a fraction of a second. As long as the switch is pressed low, the LED should stay on. Means when the switch will be closed, then this is directly grounded. Means at this point a low level signal will come, and because of this low level signal at this interrupt pin, we will write a program so that at that moment P1.3 will be logic 1 and it will glow the LED. And according to this program, after few moments this should be logic 0. If we keep this switch closed, then as long as this will be closed, the signal will be as interrupted signal and this will be logic 1. How we will write the program? Like the previous one, few things should be set. In this case we are not using the timer. So what are the other things we need? We need to set IE register. This is IE register. And here which one we are using? We are using INT1. This INT1 is the external interrupt one, which is this bit. So this bit should be logic 1. What are the other things needed? Enable all, this bit should be logic 1. All other bits will be logic 0. So what is the value of EA? This is 8 and this is 4. So value of EA is 8, 4. So first instruction, move IE, #8, 4. This is the first instruction. Next, what we need? We will just wait for the interrupt to come. Interrupt means when the switch will be pressed. So how we will wait? We will use edge jump instruction. So edge jump here, it will stay at this position. Just edge jump here means it will remain here. What will happen? When the switch will be pressed, here it will act it as interrupt. So the execution will be transferred to the corresponding interrupt service routine. What is the position of that interrupt service routine? According to vector table, it is 0013. So when the interrupt will come, the execution will start at this point. This is the interrupt service routine. What we need there? In the interrupt service routine, we need whenever the interrupt will come, this P1.3 will be logic 1. So the instruction is set bit P1.3. So LED will glow. LED will remain glowing condition for certain time. So we will just create a delay. We have created the delay by these two instructions. What is the instruction? The register value has been taken as 255. This is any value. Then DJNZ this register, back. R3 will be decremented with respect to the machine cycle, and until it will be 0, it will remain at this instruction. So this is a delay. For this delay, the LED will be in glowing condition. Here it said that the LED should stay on for a fraction of second. So this is that on period of the LED. After that, what we need? We need to make off the LED, means P1.3 should be logic 0. This is done by this instructions clear P1.3. After that, it will return. So return instruction RETI, and when this instruction will be executed, it will return to at this position because it was here. So again, when switch will be closed, again execution will go to this interrupt service routine, same thing will happen. And these two instruction, as already I have discussed in previous example. Now how this operation will happen? As long as the switch is pressed low, the LED should stay on. How this will happen? If we keep the switched on condition, then at this point we will get a logic 0 signal. What will happen? When the logic 0 signal will start, then P1.3 will be logic 1 and LED will be glowing. It will be off, but that will be very short duration. Again, what will happen? As low signal is continuing, means the signal at this point do not return to logic 1. So again microcontroller will sense the interrupt, means again it will execute the interrupt service routine. So this interrupt service routine, execution of this interrupt service routine will be a continuous process as long as this switch is connected, means as long as INT1 is getting a low signal. Next, coming to S triggered interrupt. Using S triggered interrupt, note out IT0 and IT1 bit should be set as logic 1. Now how to set, or where is that IT0 and IT1? It is inside TCON register. Say this is TCON or timer counter register. What is here? See, this is IT0 and IT1. Already I have explained, this is IT0 for external interrupt 0. This is IT1 for external interrupt 1. So for using S triggered activation, we need to set these two bits, IT0 and IT1. IT0 for external interrupt 0 and IT1 for external interrupt 1. Next, IE0 and IE1. What is IE0? IE0 is external interrupt 0 S flag. This is set by CPU when external interrupt edge is detected. Already I have shown it here. This is that IE0 and IE1. When at INT0 a falling edge detected, then IE0 flag will be automatically logic high. When at INT1 a falling edge is detected, then IE1 will be logic high or logic 1. So this is IE0 and IE1. Next is TR0 and TR1. TR0, we have already used set bit TR0 for running the timer. Actually, by that bit addressable instruction, we have set this bit. So for running timer 0, we will set this bit, and for running timer 1, we will set this TR1 bit. Next, TF0 and TF1. TF0 is timer overflow flag. This is set by hardware when timer or counter overflows, and this TF1 is same for timer 1. So these are different bits in TCON register. This one example using falling edge triggered interrupt. Assume that pin 3.3, this pin, this is INT1, is connected to a pulse generator. Write a program in which the falling edge of the pulse will send a high to P1.3. Means whenever there will be a falling edge, at that moment P1.3 will be logic 1, which is connected to a LED or buzzer. In other words, the LED is turned on or off at the same rate as the pulse are applied to the INT1. A pulse is given at this INT1 for a single pulse. Single pulse means for a single time period, on falling edge, so this LED will be logic 1. In next falling edge, LED will be again logic 1. In next falling edge, LED will be again logic 1. So we should write the program like the way when there is a falling edge, the P1.3 will be logic 1. It will remain logic 1 for certain duration. Again, when there will be a falling edge, P1.3 again at that moment will be logic 1 and it will remain for certain time. This is P1.3. So we will write the program like this way. How we will write the program? As this is external interrupt, so it is sufficient to set IE register only. In this case, which interrupt we are using? We are using INT1. So this is external interrupt 1. So this bit should be logic 1. And no doubt enable all pin should be logic 1. All other bits should be logic 0. So ultimately value of IE register will be 8, 4. This is 8 and this is 4. So first instruction to initialize is move IE, 8, 4. Next what we need? We need to set the falling edge triggered. To set this falling edge triggered value, we need to set TCON register. We need to set IT bit. This is IT1, this is IT0. So here we are using INT1. So this IT1, this value will be set. This is TCON.2. So TCON.2 bit should be set. So this is the instruction, set bit TCON.2. This is needed to select the falling edge triggered mode. This is all what we need to set. After that, what we need? We need to stay here. So like the previous example, we have used edge jump instruction. It will be here. Whenever this falling edge will come, then the execution will be transferred to the interrupt service routine. In this case, the interrupt service routine started at the memory location 0013. What we need? When this falling edge will come, this P13 should be logic 1. Means we will use set bit P1.3. So LED is glowing. After certain time, we will make the LED off. So what we will use? We will use a delay function. So like the previous example, this is the delay function. This is that delay. After that delay, we will make the LED off. So we are using clear P1.3. So this is off. After this return I instruction, it will come back to here and it will stay here. Again, when the next falling edge will come, the execution will be shifted to here in the interrupt service routine. Again, same thing will happen. So the LED at P1.3 will glow at the moment when there will be a falling edge at INT1. Interrupt priority. There is a chart of interrupt priority. Means if more than one interrupt will occur at a particular moment, which one will get the priority. Chart has been shown here. This is highest to lowest priority. When the 8051 is powered up or reset, the priorities are assigned according to the following table. We can alter the sequence of interrupt priority by assigning a higher priority to any one of the interrupts by programming a register called IP, interrupt priority. Means if we need to change the interrupt priority or if we provide anyone among these as a highest priority, then we need to set it in interrupt priority register. To give a higher priority to any of the interrupt, we make the corresponding bit in the interrupt priority register high. This is the IP register. So if we need to provide the highest priority to any one of these, we will set that bit. This is external interrupt 0 priority bit. This is external interrupt 1 priority bit. This is timer 0 interrupt priority bit. This is timer 1 interrupt priority bit. This is related to serial, means serial port interrupt priority bit, and this is related with timer 2. Now what will happen if we have set more than 1 as logic 1? If any one we will set as logic 1, that will be given the highest priority, no doubt. But if we set more than 1 as logic 1, then which one will get the priority, or how the priority will be assigned? In that case, when 2 or more interrupt bits in a IP register are set to high and one interrupt have a higher priority than others, they are serviced according to the normal priority sequence. Means if more than one bit is set as logic 1, among those they will be sequenced as the normal priority sequence. From this discussion we got in-depth idea on application of interrupt. We came to know what is interrupt, what are different types of interrupt, how timer overflow interrupt can be applied, how external interrupt can be occurred and how we can use external interrupt in different programming, how priority in interrupt can be set. This tutorial became a little bit longer, but within this single tutorial almost everything regarding the application of interrupt in 8051 have been discussed. In next tutorial I will discuss another important topic on 8051 microcontroller. Please subscribe, put your comments and queries in comment section.